Hello Mets fans, welcome back to the channel, and today we are continuing the discussion for the New York Mets and their approach to 2020 MLB free agency. And finally, I've been wanting to talk about this player in particular since I first made the channel a couple weeks ago. He's the only player that is in literally every single comment section of every single video I posted to date, and that is none other than Trevor Bauer. So we will be looking at Trevor Bauer, his connection to the New York Mets, if any, and we all know it is plenty more than I can even begin to tell you in this video. So I'll do my best here. I'm going to be breaking down everything there is to know about Trevor Bauer and his game, the possible connection that is in fact there with the New York Mets, what he would bring to the table for the Mets in that rotation, and everything in between. And as always guys, make sure you stay all the way until the end of the video, find all my deets and my thoughts on Trevor Bauer and the connection to the New York Mets. And also make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, share this video with your friends if you're a Mets fan and you enjoy this Mets content and you want to see more Mets content like this going forward. Without further ado guys, let's get right into this video. Here we have arguably the most controversial player in baseball today, and also one of, if not the biggest fish in all of 2020 MLB free agency, starting pitcher Trevor Bauer. Most known for his on and off field personality, being the unofficial voice for all players in the MLB, going for greater lengths than the average player to give on and off field access, what it's like in the daily life of an MLB player, the inner workings of Major League Baseball, and so much more. It's easy to make a note of these forms of insight and expression while not giving the man the credit he absolutely deserves into becoming one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. The 29-year-old right-hander at 6'1", 205 pounds, originally drafted in the first round, 3rd overall back in 2011 by the Arizona Diamondbacks, had a stellar 2020 shortened season in which in 11 games played, he had 73 innings pitched, 5 wins, 4 losses, a 1.73 ERA, 100 strikeouts, a 0.79 whip, a 12.33 K per 9, and a 2.10 walks per 9. Quite the improvement to say the least from his 2019 total splitting time with the Cleveland Indians and the Cincinnati Reds, in which in 34 games played and 213 innings pitched, Bauer had 11 wins, 13 losses, an ERA of 4.48, 253 strikeouts, which was a career high for him, a 1.25 whip, a 10.69 K per 9, and a 3.46 walk per 9. Looking at Bauer's career totals to date, in 205 games played and 1,190 innings pitched, he has 75 wins, 64 losses, a career ERA of 3.90, 1,279 strikeouts, and a 1.26 whip. Bauer's accolades consist of an AL All-Star appearance in 2018 representing the Cleveland Indians, and in 2020 becoming an All-MLB first-teamer, and most notably the 2020 NL Cy Young Award winner, in which he put up some amazing numbers, including being second in all of the NL in strikeouts with 100 even, and first in the NL when it comes to holding batters average to an amazing .159. Okay, so just to throw some more advanced stats at you, if you will, regarding Trevor Bauer in his 2020 season, take a look at this. Like, amazing numbers. We're talking in the 99th and 100th percentile in regards to a lot of these pitching categories throughout the entire MLB among its pitchers. Now look, was it a shortened season? Of course it was. Was it a small sample size? Yes it was, but it was nothing short of phenomenal and impressive in doing so. And I get it, there's a lot of discussion currently going on with his spin rate, how that sparks so high, what is he using, what technique is he doing, whatever it is working, and it's currently under the radar of the MLB at least. I've seen him state plenty of things through Twitter and just social media overall regarding that. I've seen plenty of other people touch on videos and articles, what have you. Regardless of what he is doing, I'm sure he's not the only guy doing this in the MLB, or at least maybe in somewhat of a different technique or substance, whatever it is. So many players in the MLB today do things in closed doors or things that we simply don't know about to give them either a slight advantage or just a different routine or technique to their pitching or their batting, whatever it is. But regardless, it's working tremendously for Trevor Bauer, and his spin rate is absolutely through the roof, and is why he has not just been a strikeout machine, but has taken his game to a completely another level in the shortened 2020 season. But as you guys probably know by now, there has been endless connections between Trevor Bauer and the New York Mets. From Steve Cohen coming in as the new owner just these past couple months, and Sandy Alderson part of this regime, we have Trevor Bauer, who even came out with his own video on his YouTube channel, which is fantastic. Make sure to check it out if you guys are a Bauer fan and want to see the inner workings of the MLB as we know, the locker room experience, the in and out of life of a guy like Trevor Bauer, and everything in between. He does a great job there, especially with his longtime friend that's his agent, so make sure to check out that stuff. But he did make his own YouTube video literally speaking glowingly of Steve Cohen and how brilliant of a move he has been for the New York Mets thus far since becoming owner. So you check that out. He's just amazing. As soon as that video came out, I was jaw dropped. I was like, oh my God, this is perfect. Lock him up. He's bound to be a Met. No questions asked. Obviously, that isn't holding true yet, but the Mets are definitely one of the biggest front runners, along with a team like the Los Angeles Angels, who desperately need starting pitching. As we know, the Angels have really been connected to Bauer for months and months on end, and Bauer even did another YouTube video not long ago discussing MLB fan bases who have shown the most interest and desire to acquire him in this year's free agency, and he ranked the Mets at second, and then you have the Angels at first. So they're neck and neck. As we know, we've seen plenty of fellow Mets fans, probably you guys even watching this, that have either made photoshops of him in outfits, including myself, or just other clips or other reasons for him to go to Queens to be with the New York Mets. But I just love all that, and I love the fact that he interacts with the fans. And I also enjoy so much that he made note of what Sandy Alderson first spoke on him when, I believe, the first time that he was on WFAN this year on Carn and Roberts, discussing, you know, him coming in, the current moves that the Mets were doing at the time with their GM search at the time still, and also the possibility of Trevor Bauer and his personality. Would it work in New York? Alderson really said that yes, he would thrive, and I think it would be a perfect idea for him in a place like New York. And to which Bauer replied on Twitter saying how much he appreciates that, basically, and how it's so nice to hear, basically going against the haters, saying that, oh, you know, because Bauer, he can't handle a big market with his personality, he's going to be a head case, things won't work out. But I just love that interaction between them. Bauer knows very well, obviously, what the Mets are doing and the path that they are going down, and that's why they have had constant dialogue since the start of the winter meetings for the Mets. And having this new regime, now Jared Porter in place as GM, they have been weighing their options. They've been keeping tabs on basically every pitcher out there when it comes to starting pitching to help out this rotation. But a bringing in Bauer would be huge. So the matter is, how much are they prioritizing a guy like Bauer? I would assume it's very high. They've spoken plenty. Sandy Alderson continues to speak on the radio and MLB SNY, among others, discussing what Bauer could bring to the table for the Mets, and very well could in fact get something done. But it's going to be a big grab possibly when it comes to what are they going to do in the matter of the contract. Are they going to in fact give Trevor Bauer a one-year deal or a multi-year deal? We've all seen Bauer state how a one-year deal would probably be best suit for him. We'll see if he holds true to that, or if he wants to go, say, bigger, upwards of a 5-year deal. If you're asking me, it would make more sense for him to go long-term and take advantage right now. If, say, he does have a down year in 2021, I don't think he will, but that possibility is always there at the end of the day, especially with pitchers. They can be up and down in ERA constantly. But assuming Bauer stays consistent, he would like a one-year deal, which very well could be over $30 million. So he could be making just as much, if not more, than what DeGrom will be making currently in his contract, which he signed just over a year ago now. That was a 5-year, $157 million extension, I believe, with a $10 million signing bonus. So DeGrom is expected to make right around $33 million or so in the 2021 season. That is not including a $2.5 million contract bonus, I believe. But then you also have Bauer, who very well could be making anywhere between 30 to 35 million in a one-year deal, which would be ridiculous. It would be more than DeGrom if that's the case. And I'm not sure how the Mets would feel about doing that, because that would take up a lot of the money that they're currently working with. Or even a longer term deal, say a 5-year deal, could range anywhere from 130 mil to 140 mil. That's a lot, but that's what you're going to have to give up when you're going after big fish in free agency, and Trevor Bauer is definitely leading the pack in that regard. So if the Mets do in fact go down that route, is that the main thing that they want to do this offseason? Because we saw what they did with James McCann over JT Realmuto. They had the option for both. They went with McCann because, one, I'm so happy they went with McCann. He's a perfect fit for them, between him really not having nearly as much innings and having plenty more room to grow as a player, and also because of the fact that he was a lot cheaper too than versus a guy like Realmuto, who would take up a big chunk of the money that you're working with in the offseason. So now the Mets got McCann, but also in part can allocate the other parts of money that they have going up to the luxury tax, assumably at 150 million. But if they are pushing upwards of 200 million, then that's a different story, and we don't know that. I would assume that that is a possibility. I just don't know how true it is. But if they are pushing upwards of 150 million in the luxury tax, they currently have just under 70 million that they are working with. I think around 66 to be exact. But regardless, the Mets want to allocate this money everywhere in the lab, because they need to address the bullpen, the starting rotation, the outfield, center field to be particular, and very well the infield to an extent, with the trade rumors that we've seen with Arenado, Francisco Lindor, possibly just infield acquisitions like guys like DJ LeMahieu if he does get pried away from the Yankees, among all these other names. So if they do in fact go for a guy like Bauer and they prioritize him, they probably won't be able to get all these other big names. And that is the biggest what if question for the Mets. Do they want to prioritize Trevor Bauer? Are they prioritizing him enough over basically everyone else? Well, the common consensus is that no, they're going for George Springer as the front runner versus any other player, and then they go from there. If that's a possibility, they could still land Trevor Bauer and George Springer, but it wouldn't be easy. They wouldn't have too much more money that they're working with. But the biggest what if as well is the fact that we simply don't know exactly how much money the Mets don't just have, but are willing to use under this new Steve Cohen, Sandy Alderson, and now Jared Porter regime. Only time will tell exactly how much they spend this offseason. They're not going to act like drunken sailors, as we know, but they're going to do a lot in their power to make this roster a lot better, not just for the short term, but long-term future, to have consistent success at the MLB level, to be contenders every single year. Not, you know, it's just a dream come true for us Mets fans. We know this, but a Bauer in this rotation, he brings so much. Let's just take his personality before we even get to what he would do from a performance standpoint. He is perfect for the Mets. With this new regime, he could literally be the narrator if you want to look at it that way. I know that people either love or hate Bauer. I'm more in the love it category. I've never been a hater of Bauer, even with some of the quote-unquote antics that he's done on and off the field. He's just different, and the majority of the MLB, from, you know, their commissioner down, they don't love that about him, but he's bringing a lot of new viewers and younger viewers to the game of baseball that has struggled with the marketing aspect of things. So Bauer would be front and center, a huge marketer for the New York Mets and Queens and this new regime that would really make them be on the poster of everywhere. They would just be phenomenal because they are as it is. Now you bring Bauer in the mix between his YouTube channel, his social media personality. He can give you insider looks at the locker room, insider looks on a game-to-game basis, the rationale, the thoughts that go behind the New York Mets under this new regime, and everything in between. And myself as a Mets fan, I would love that. There's nothing that I would want more, truly. I think that would be amazing for us fans to get that kind of inside access experience. But I know that you have to look at the player at the end of the day, outside of that personality. But the player, even though he has lacked consistency in his career, is usually above a 4 ERA starting pitcher. But in 2018, he had I believe around a 2.2 something ERA, and then also this past year he had a 1.73 ERA around there. So he has put up some strong numbers. The spin rate is all up, we know this, but if he can bring that consistent performance for at least one or multiple years, whatever contract the Mets would land him, then you have a starting rotation that has the back-to-back Cy Young Award winner Jacob deGrom, the GOAT, who then lost the 2020 Cy Young to Trevor Bauer. So you have two guys that have won the Cy Young for the past 3 years in the NL in the same rotation. And then you would add in Marcus Stroman, who still has that caliber to be a dominant starting pitcher and ace for many teams in the MLB still. Then you also have David Peterson, who's looking really strong, the young rookie from the past season. I expect him to have some good strides in his sophomore year, this upcoming year, as that strong lefty. And then you can figure out what you want to do with that fifth spot, whether you bring in a guy like Steven Matz, whether you want to work with him still, or maybe you don't. It's really up to you what they want to do utilizing him, but he does have a connection with James McCann, so keep that into account. Or if they say go down the round of other guys I've touched on this video, most recently being Taijuan Walker, Jake Odorizzi, that might be a stretch if they still get Bauer. Other guys like Masahiro Tanaka, or the guy that just is being posted from Japan, is really the best pitcher from Japan since a guy like Tanaka, and that is Tomoyaki Sugano. So there are plenty of options on the pitching front. We know this, but Trevor Bauer would really headline one of, if not the best rotation in baseball. And then you bring Thor, Noah Syndergaard in the mix once he's healthy, probably around summer, but time will tell, maybe sooner, because he's had some good progression healing up from Tommy John surgery. You bring Syndergaard in, and then you have deGrom, Thor, then you have Bauer, Stroman, and then Peterson. That is nasty. Absolutely nasty. That is a championship winning caliber rotation right there. And then you can figure out what you want to do for the remainder of that lineup. Hopefully still getting Springer, maybe doing some trades to the infield, bullpen. It won't be easy, but the Mets are weighing their options. So the biggest question is, what are they prioritizing most? But out of all that, they're going to have an amazing offseason, I assure you guys, and I'm going to be here to report on it. And I want to make sure you are here for it because I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. As always, I want to grow this Mets community. It's amazing. It's the best fan base in baseball. I've been having so much fun on this channel. We are over halfway to 1,000 subscribers already. I cannot thank you all enough. I never would have expected to get this kind of following this early here on the channel, and as a Mets fan, there's just nothing that I could enjoy more. So I sincerely thank you all. I love you all. You are all part of the Mets family, and we are going to grow this thing together. So thank you again. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit like, subscribe, share this video with your friends, put on your notification bell if you enjoy this kind of Mets content, if you want to see more great Mets content going forward, and also make sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments. As always, how do you feel about the strut himself and Trevor Bauer? Bauer landing in Queens with the New York Mets, either on a short or long-term deal. Do you like that idea? Do you not like that idea? Let me know all your thoughts. As always, it means a ton. And thank you all again, guys. Expect plenty more great content regarding the Mets and everything there is to know about them this offseason and going into the 2021 season. And I'll catch you all next time.